So now, with the government shutdown ending, we see why Donald Trump wanted so badly to keep the government closed for as long as possible. He did not want this shutdown to come to an end, no matter what he said publicly. I mean, he had to say publicly that he wanted it to end, but really he didn't. And now we see why, because as soon as this shutdown is over, we now have the Epstein saga just exploding back to life. And now we have these emails that have been released by House Democrats, and they were part of a whole bunch of documents, including thousands of emails that were turned over by Epstein's estate to Congress pursuant to a subpoena. And, you know, we're still going through all of these emails that have been released. But it's really a disaster for this guy. And what it really looks like here, which we've all suspected, is that, you know, Donald Trump played up all these conspiracy theories about a pedophile ring in which all of these politicians and rich people, and they were all involved in this, and Jeffrey Epstein was the center of it. And Donald Trump presented himself as the great champion, that he was going to release all of this information, that he was going to hold all these pedophiles accountable. And he set himself up as the hero in this story. If anything, he was part of this. He was part of this pedophile ring, this trafficking and abusing of underage girls. The question is exactly what part did he play in all this? What exactly did he do? We don't know that, but it certainly seems like he was in that world. Certainly seems he knows what was going on. You know, if these emails are to be believed. And I don't know why they wouldn't be. I mean, these are private emails between him and Ghislaine Maxwell, and some of them between Michael Wolff. So, and these were all the way back in, 2016? So here he is promising all these MAGAs that he was going to blow the lid wide open and hold all of these people involved in this sex trafficking pedophile ring, hold them all accountable, prosecute them. But this is the way he sort of inoculates himself against the fact that he was part of this. He does this all the time. Exactly this kind of thing. This is his modus operandi. This is how he handles these things. And I don't know why it's surprising to anyone, but the question is, if we find out more, and if this is, you know, it gets worse for him, is it possible that this is what brings him down? Because I was just listening to a podcast, and they were talking about this, and the perpetual pessimist on the panel was saying, oh, yeah, it's not gonna matter to these MAGAs. They'll just defend him no matter what. And certainly that has been the case up till now. And I'm not saying that he's not going to end up being right. But here's what I think about all of this. And I think I'm borne out by how mad we see a lot of these MAGAs at Donald Trump right now for a whole host of reasons. But at some point, they're going to realize, see, Donald Trump is their identity, right? They have to support him. In fact, I saw one of these MAGAs today on Twitter, big name account, who said, it's Trump or Democrats. That's your choice. Take your pick. That's it. Those are the only two choices, which is ridiculous. I responded to this person, like, Donald Trump is a lame duck. He's going to be gone pretty soon. You're clinging to a sinking ship. At some point, as we get closer and closer to the end of his term, he's not going to be their guy forever. He's not going to be the head of their party forever. He's not going to be president forever. He's not ever going to be a candidate again. He is not the future of the Republican Party. So as this reality becomes more and more obvious to them over time, at what point do they say, we're not defending this anymore? We've got to move on. Defending this is going to destroy us, maybe in the midterms, destroy us in 2028 and beyond. He's horribly unpopular. The latest approval poll of Trump, AP, has him at 36%. This guy is horribly unpopular. And I know it has been their reflex for damn near a decade to defend him no matter what. So it's just part of their life. We defend Trump. That's what we do. That's part of, that's what we live to do. It's been a part of our every single day for a decade, defending this man. And so a lot of this is just kind of on autopilot. They just do it because that's what they've been conditioned to do, just defend Trump against all charges. But there's a lot of them who are, I saw Nick Fuentes posted today. He said, MAGA is dead on Twitter. MAGA is dead. And there were over 100,000 likes on this thing at the time I saw it. And, where exactly Nick Fuentes fits into MAGA. I mean, he was MAGA at one point. I know he's kind of broken with MAGA, but you see that sentiment all over the place. A lot of MAGAs, self-identified MAGAs, a lot of these idiots who have MAGA or Trump or something in their little Twitter name, these are MAGAs. And you have, it's really exploding online. And you have a lot of MAGAs who are not abandoning Trump, like Laura Loomer. I saw Dinesh D'Souza, some of these others, trying to bring the MAGAs back on the side of Trump. Saying that we're going to betray Trump after all this. We're going to abandon Trump after all of this. Just because of H-1B visas or just because of this or just because of that. They're like desperately trying to convince MAGAs not to abandon Trump. I mean, this is a real thing that's going on. I don't know how big it is. I don't know how long it will last, if this is real or whether they're all just going to be sucked back into the Trump orbit. Usually, in the past, every time these MAGAs begin to pull away from Trump, it is something that the left does that causes them to rally around Trump. And as much as I absolutely support Donald Trump having been indicted and all of that, he should have been prosecuted. And I mean, he was prosecuted. Those prosecutions should have been seen to their conclusion. He should be in prison right now. But when he was indicted, I think when those charges were filed against him, that was the thing that really rallied MAGA back to Trump's side. Now, a lot of them, I mean, I'm talking about after January 6th, after he left office in disgrace. Now, a lot of them still stuck with him and everything, but he did not have the kind of cult-like support he had earlier for a while until those indictments dropped. And then they all just came back to Trump and rallied around him. So I don't know. I mean, we've seen instances before where they've kind of distanced themselves from Trump, but then came back together. So that may happen. But my point is, as to whether or not this Epstein stuff is going to cause MAGA to abandon him, whether he'll get away with all of this, I don't know. But it seems to me that the further along we get in this presidency, with each passing day, he has less time in office. We're almost a year through this thing. It's going to begin to dawn on these people. They're going to start to accept the fact that he's a lame duck and he's not going to be around long. And how much more are they going to invest of themselves and their party and their political fortunes into this man who is destroying their party? It seems to me that at some point, they're going to have to make that calculation that it's just not worth it defending this guy anymore. He's not the future. What are we defending him for? He's not our candidate in 2028. He's never going to be our candidate again. And he's a lame duck, and he's just dragging us all down. At some point, they're going to realize this. Maybe not all of them. Probably all of them will never get there. Not all of them will get there. You know, your average MAGA hat-wearing moron out there. But a lot of these people will, you know, leaders in the movement, not just the mindless drones who just sit there and watch Fox News all day. Once Fox News gets to that point, you know, the drones who are programmed by Fox News and are told what to think by Fox News, that might have an effect on them. But a lot of them, I think, will come to that, and they're already starting to come to that. I can't even tell you how many people I've seen, you know, big name MAGAs out there posting about how some recent things that Donald Trump has said. They've said this is going to destroy us in the midterms. Trump is going to kill us in the midterms. Trump is going to kill us in 2028. Trump is going to elect a Democrat in 2028. He's destroying his presidency. A lot of people saying this. And I see it all moving in that direction. But again, at some friggin' point, even the dumbest among them are going to realize that he's a lame duck and he's not going to be around. And why are we going to continue to defend him? I don't know when they're all going to reach that point. You know, if they were smart, they'd already be there. But what? Are they going to wait until he's got 2 days left in office? I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, at some point, he's fucking gone. So why are you going to defend him? Continue to defend him against these so much of this is just indefensible. They sound like fucking idiots defending him over some of this stuff. And a lot of them know it. But they don't care because they just can't let the libs be right. And that's why they defend him. They can't give a victory to the libs. But at some point, defending him is screwing themselves. At what point do they say, okay, our defense of him is not, it has to not be just about owning the libs. We have to be interested in self-preservation at some point. So anyway, this is a long-winded way of answering the question whether or not this Epstein stuff is going to bring him down, whether this Epstein stuff is going to cause enough, MAGA to really leave him. I don't know. That remains to be seen. I think if this whole thing, all these emails, all this stuff that's happening to him right now, if this happened a year from now, or certainly after the midterms, especially if Republicans get destroyed in the midterms, I think it would be completely different. I think the fact that we're still in the first year of this, I don't know if it's still probably a little too early in his term to cause enough of them to break with him. But at some point, they have to. At some point, they're going to have to realize that they got to abandon this guy. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. They are going to abandon him in droves. He's just going to be left with a small cadre of just the hardest core cultists who they just will never, ever, 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 ever leave him. Anyway, the sooner that happens, the sooner MAGA wakes up and abandons this fucking buffoon, the better. But, we'll see. Jury's out on that. Anyway, thanks for watching.